Our next presentation is from John Tindall. He's going to demo his BROKEH system. It's pretty wacky looking, as you can tell. He came to my home about, 3 or 4 years ago, and he showed it to me, and I couldn't believe that it worked when I saw it. And if you don't take my word for it, we're going to do a little demo, and then we're going to have Julio Macat, ASC, is going to come up, who's also been a user, and he's going to give his opinions on the BROKEH system. But John, how does it work?
Well, that's an interesting story, and it goes back a few years. I must say that the third patent dropped on this, and so I can share with you pretty much the whole system. But it started, not on a dark and stormy night, but it did start on a dark night when I was filming and wanted to make my lighting invisible. So we took some black foam core, spattered some paint on it. It looked great. In the reflections in these old cars, you couldn't see anything. It was wonderful. But the faces were incredible. And I said, I want more of that. I don't know what that is. So I started messing around with complementary colors, juxtaposing them, having the different angles of incidence, and then filed a first patent. It's an environmental lighting system. And I found out, I made a little LED screen so that I could create patterns. And I found out very quickly that if you add any pattern, and those early patterns, by the way, looked very similar to this, which we now call Rose Garden. And I found out that if you put any color rather than white light on your bounce sources or whatever, you're 95% better. Any pattern. So if you want to go further than that, you can, but it was stunning. Like, I would change the patterns. You're like, yes, it's a little different, but is it worth that? So right now the BROKEH system has 3 Nature Series patterns. Those are easy to use. So I'm trying to make the colors stronger and stronger and stronger, and I'm getting these weird color artifacts. So one of the shapes I discovered was arcs. You'll see the arcs in this light right here. They have a very strange shadow artifact, and they have a way of hiding the shadows and blending the shadows in a way that was very strange. And this is right around the time that I first started sharing some of this with Julio. As it turns out, the dominant and complementary colors in the face can be used as a contrast filter on the face. That was patent number 2, using colors, dominant, complementary skin colors, to distort the face as you want to do. Then the arcs came into play. Now the third patent, which is using arcs to light faces, savvy, slit arc vertex illuminator, savvy, my wife named that. And what that brings to the table is very interesting. Your face is made up of dozens and dozens and dozens of curves. These arcs are curves. They're radial curves. Your face is made up of radial curves. So let me make that a little bit more clear here. Okay, so this is an arc. It's a curve. It's a radial curve. The sphere is a curve. These are both radial curves. So as I light this sphere, I have a nice crescent moon-shaped sphere. No distortion. Now, if I reverse the sphere, or reverse the arc, I have a nice, I'm playing to this camera right here, so I'll have a nice fill light. Is that working on the screen? I can't see what we're doing, but yeah. Okay, cool. So once again, would be the key light, making a nice crescent shape with no distortion, and here we go. Now, if you're lighting with a regular light box, rectangle, which you should do, when that rectangle passes that spheroid, you're going to start getting a toroidal shape. You're not going to get a perfect crescent. So you'll have distortion. You'll have a shadow area at the equator, and the poles are going to be overlit. When you bring these curves into it, it changes the distortion of the face. All of these are subtle, subtle, subtle things. But your mind and your brain and your eyes are... Thank you, Marianne. In less than 1 frame of video, or film, 1/50th of a second, your eyes can tell if something's phony. Like, we are processing at a rate that is unbelievable. So this may seem like, but this is what the third patent's all about. So let's see what we can do now. Okay. In years past, we were just using this is, the BROKEH system has two main parts. The Nature series, which is what was first created, and the Facial series, which has everything to do with trying to correct the face, or actually enhance the face, make it more beautiful. This system works because your skin only reflects certain colors, and it absorbs the other colors. So I'm using that to my advantage and to everyone's advantage. We all have very similar skin hue. We may have more or less melanin. The more melanin you have, the more this works. The less you have, the less it works. It's like a polycontrast filter for your face, if anybody knows old black and white terms. So let's take a look at, okay, so right now we're using old school, both sides of the pattern. Joe, I'm going to drop this down. Let's bring up the I can't do a straight A-B for you because we don't have a diffusing thing to do that. But this is what we would normally see in terms of when we're lighting on set. And is her face in the right place? She's good? Okay, great. Now, so that I'm absolutely calling this out, I can control one side. This is a LightMat 4 Plus. I can control either side of the light independently. So the upstage light is the key light, which it usually would be. But we're going to put the arcs on this, and we're going to see. Oh, I see it. Thank you. Okay, so once again, here we go. This is straight, flat, nice, beautiful soft light, what we light with every day of the week. Okay, Joe, if you put the BROKEH filter up. This is the facial and anamorphic key light. Facial anamorphic. It distorts. Thank you. If the camera puts 10 pounds on, this takes the 10 pounds off. There's one that's an enhance that actually leaves you pretty much alone, but it's just a beautifying pattern. This is a little tighter. Now, if we go and we take and we bring down the fill light, actually that's the key light. We bring down the fill light side, we can start to change and kind of adjust her face to our liking. We can thin it out a little bit more, or we can flatten it a little bit more. That's flatter, that's flatter. Is that flatter? So that's flatter, and then this has got more modeling, right? Yeah. So we're able to dial this in. So if you have a series of interviews or whatever, and you need to quickly adjust where you want your shadow highlight fall off to be, you can enhance the face exactly the same way that I was doing with this arc is working on the radial curves on her face. So to review, I'm going to take the key light. This is full key light. I'm going to swap and go full fill light. So she should appear to have a flatter face at this point. Is that correct? Great. So I'm going to start dialing in and start modeling her face and change it around so that I've got, so now that's the same light. Now you would probably be running a fill light in the room while you're actually doing your subject. Because remember, this is one light. So the idea that we're getting a fill and key and we're modeling, and we can change that modeling with one light, with me sitting here in this fader thing is absolutely ridiculous. Now, somebody, thank you. It's a good thing that that gentleman in front was clapping, because somebody who has been absolutely my savior and came many times to talk me down off the ledge as I was going through all them, trying to figure this out.
Come up on the stage if you would. Mr. Julio Macat, ASC. He's also been an early adopter of the BROKEH system. This is his beautiful work from a movie called After the Wedding. but he shot a lot of very successful classics, from Home Alone, Wedding Crashers, Perfect Pitch, and goes on and on. So you discovered this, like I did, and you've been using it on a lot of movies. They're seeing your work here. You can see what they're looking at here. This is just a beautiful movie, and you used it to light some of these actresses with a lot of care. And just give us your feelings on the BROKEH system.
Hey guys, welcome everybody. Wait, I want to wake you up by offering everybody a job, because that's why you're here. Listen, I am probably the least technical director of photography there is, but John, who's a friend, showed me what he was doing, and the fact that on a basic level, I'll just dumb this down for you. He took these patterns, he puts it in front of a white light. The patterns do something to the light. It comes out white, yet it has a different quality to it. When I saw that, I went, damn, that's interesting. I want to know more about that. Because the light, after coming through the pattern, had a better quality to it. And it looked less like a light. So it got me interested, and then we started working together, going back and forth. The idea that these patterns does something to the light, the quality of its direction, we started to test. I highly recommend that you test this out. I didn't know until we tested it that it could do what it does. And part of what it does, aside from making it look less like a white light, without changing the color temperature, which kind of blew my mind, I started to test it on actors. Very important to do a test before you start a movie or any project, right? Because you kill so many birds with one stone. You get to know your actors. You get to learn about the height of the light, whether it's softer or harder light works, bounce, straight, direct light. Really important. So I was doing this little movie after the wedding. It was a $2 million budget. We shot it in 24 days. And one of the concerns of one of the actors, Michelle Williams, was that she felt that she had been living in India, and her face, after 15 years of being in India, her face would have a more gaunt quality to it. But she didn't want to go on a diet and get, you know, the rest of her body looking not proper. But she was concerned that she was too cutesy and her face was too round. So I started to play with these filters, and I started to look at different patterns. And weirdly enough, with one of these patterns, her face looked more chiseled and less full than same light direction, just with as a byproduct of this. So I started using it on her, and then the other actors would come up to me. Julianne Moore came up to me and said, hey, how come she gets that thing and I don't? So I said to John, you got to get me another one of these. Maybe that doesn't do the thing, but get me one that I can use on the other actors, because otherwise I'm in trouble. And he did. And I just put him, it's a matter of taste, you know. This is the beauty of it, is that we, as cinematographers, we can't even copy each other. We can't copy ourselves. Everybody does things a little bit differently. So in using these, I suddenly had this extra thing in my toolkit, which worked on her, it worked on Jennifer Aniston, it was a game changer for me, to be able to have a light that doesn't feel like a light. The other thing that blew my mind about what John was doing is these rags, this Santa Fe rag, for example. The fact that, you know, you can bounce onto something that's got all these colors to it. It's broken up the color spectrum, and you hit it with a white light, and it comes back as a white light. Yet the thing itself is all these colors. So I started thinking, wow, that's cool. Not only does it make the light feel more natural, but now if I'm shooting something like a glass where you would normally have a white reflection of your white light, I have something that's just colored lights that I'm reflecting on a piece of glass. And it got me thinking, if it does that to that, which is so cool, and every commercial DP should have this stuff for when you're shooting product. But I thought, when I'm bouncing light outside in daytime, rather than using a white bounce, which can look white, like a white light, why don't I use this? And it feels more natural to me. So on a basic level, those things kind of blew my mind about the system, and that's why I started using it. And really, all I can do is tell you it's something to test, and it's something that might work for you. I know that it made me stand out and do something different that's cool and interesting. I know that very well-respected gaffers like Dwight Campbell are very much taken by it as well. It's something to try. That's all I can tell you. I also want to take the opportunity to thank Charlie for helping us out. He's available to work as a grip. So Charlie Petrie, I know his dad. So anyway, thank you for letting me explain it.
I also would like to introduce, this is Janae Patterson, getting started in the business, on-camera talent. Thank you very much. And thanks, Charlie Petrie. And Julio, thank you so much. That was great.